Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to something we haven't seen on this channel before. It is a 3v3. So, some familiar faces in this game. Let me introduce the players. Spawning on the right side of this joke map that I forget the name of because it's 3v3 and I rarely play. It is a ramp playing on the team you might recognize about now, along with playing Protoss, the Benny Hill Zerg. This is me, Savage Wood, the a regular of this channel. I mean, obviously I cast the damn things, but Cheese Pizza, right? And my normal 2v2 partner, Elusive Smoke, Spencer. So this is Cheese Pizza meets Rampy, who's like the red-headed stepchild of the team, and facing three Zergs, PCS Asir, Check Raise, and the lover of all things large and floppy, Intrepid. So, 3v3, similar to 2v2 in the fact that it's pretty jokish, to be completely honest, but it kind of differs from 2v2. In my opinion, there's like less tryharding. In general, in 2v2, there's like a lot of like cutesy rush bullshit that goes on. Wherein in 3v3 it's kind of like, oh well, like it's somewhere between like 2v2 tryharding and 4v4 where people fuck 4v4. If you haven't played, as a fuck fest, everyone just dicks around. There's really no rules or talent involved. But so somewhere in between there. But this was a really good game, and I thought I would cast it. So here we are. And I'm playing Protoss this game, which like, it's like you're like, oh, why are you playing Protoss? It's actually probably pretty shit tier. But I do okay. It's a weird game. Here, let me lower the volume real quick. I don't know why it defaulted back up so damn high. Anyway, so we're back. Excuse me. I don't know why that happened. I lowered it earlier, but it defaulted back. So standard stuff, nothing to talk about. Actually, there's a forge, so that's not standard. Herp derp. Spencer doing another rack, so this might be some early pressure. And a ramp, who you will hear me refer to as Rampy for probably the rest of the cast, is doing just getting quick banes, because in 3v3 people will do cheeky bullshit like marine rushes and speedling rushes. Obviously no marines because this is triple Zerg. Intrepid building a spine, no clue why. Just some herpage going on, nothing really to talk about on the Zerg side. Just a couple fast expands. And Aaron taking a fast base. Aaron, also known as Rampy, a ramp, Aaron Rampy. And Chrono Boost going down on the Cyber Core for me, as well as +1 being researched. So this is some kind of quick timing, probably a +1 Zealot timing. It's very, very good against Zerg, because Zealots that have +1 upgrades on attack will two-shot Lings. It takes them 2 swipes to kill, and a lot of times Zergs won't have a Roach Warren in time, so they're just completely boned because you have Zealots that will completely shred through. So Rampy making some precautionary banelings here, and not a whole terrible amount. It's a lot harder to observe 3v3s. 4 gates coming down from me, so mixed with the chrono boost on this late ass warp gate research, this is going to be some kind of cutesy 4 gate pressure. And with Spencer's 3 barracks, this is just going to be a 3 racks push. And with Ling speed coming down for Rampy, as well as the curious case of his lack of drones. It's actually not so curious because he's probably going to be making pure Ling. This looks like an early push for us, and by us I mean our team out now. So Team PSC has elected to do a lot of early expand action, grabbing this base, this base, this base, and this base, as well as lots of spines and creep tumors coming down. However, our attack should hit before all of that commences. Some nice Ling Bane with Marine Marauder coming forward, and with all these queens and these spines coming up, this position will be very difficult to break, especially the longer we wait. It will be more advantageous to swing down here. That's a cluster. So that's what we will elect to do. Rampy's Ling's running down here, going to take out this baller crawler. My Zealot's also surging forward. Aaron needs to be careful to not waste this Banelings, because since we have the production tab, we can see not very many units coming forward actually, but ooh, Rampy throwing away Banelings there, very sloppy, throwing away more Banelings, wasteful there. That's very bad because these Zerg players are very likely to make Lings to defend this. Now, this is pretty much impenetrable with these queens because of transfuse, so yes, this attack should swing down here. So, Rampy's Lings leading the charge on the way through, should take out this queen. Not a whole lot going down as far as mobile defense for our blue team here, PSC, and this base will go down. So here finally some Lings, nice Bane hit from Rampy, and see, this is what I was waiting for, 22 Lings in production. Rampy should be making more Banes right here to counteract the Lings that he know will spawn, but maybe he's going to run up on this high ground, and he does. Good Banes from Rampy, good time warp coming down there from me, pretentious as that sounds. +1 Zealots here surging forward, annihilating the Zealots, and this spine defense is really good with all the queens, but it can be completely circumvented on these weird ass multiplayer maps. So Zealots completely annihilating the roaches that are stuck in the time stop there, and 3 bases have been killed in this attack, which is obviously very strong. And the main doesn't have a whole terribly lot guarding it, although more queens and roaches are on the way for the opponents on the blue team. Marauders and Marines surging forward with Zealots, and Intrepid is in some trouble here. He's going to lose this Roach Warren, which is crucial to defense because of the +1 upgrades on the Zealots. The Zealots are losing steam here, taking hull damage in previous attacks, plus you got the Broodlings, the Roaches, and the Lings, and this little Marine Marauder ball from Spencer isn't doing terribly a whole lot, excuse me, with the curious case of Spencer's lack of medevacs is actually troubling him here, as this attack has kind of lost steam with some poor reinforcement. And you can see Aaron sloppily running his Lings through spines here, and I'd say that was a success overall. Now let's keep in mind that we did take advantage of the Zerg players expanding. However, we committed a lot to that attack, and these bases aren't really up and running. I just expanded. Aaron has no drones here. Spencer's still on 1 base, and this like massive wall of static defense and this clusterfuck of queens is going to be incredibly potent to deal with if swarm hosts start to come out. And even if swarm hosts don't start to come out, this much static defense, it's going to push to your front door. It's going to prevent that gold from being taken. So right now, the Zergs, when I say the Zergs, I'm referring to the blue team. They want everything to be on one front. There is no defense on this backside for the blue team, PSC. They want they want the focal point of the fights to be with this battalion of queens and spine crawlers. So if we take a look back in the bases, double expand as well as the factory coming down from Spencer. Rampy poking forward with the Lings, but he can't do shit. Robo coming out from me as well as an armor upgrade. Rampy droning, good to see. Probe production coming out from me. And we're going to take a look here. This is getting very dangerous for our boys in red, the out now kids. Pure Marine here for Spencer, which is atrocious against this unit composition. Basically, pure Marine with no medevac isn't going to kill a damn thing because these queens have so much energy, they're just going to mass transfuse each other. Spencer really needs to rush out a tank here. He is building 2. That's going to be very potent because if swarm hosts come out for our blue Zergs, the shit is going to start to hit the fan because Rampy is reasonably behind. He doesn't have any tech. He's on pure Ling still. He hasn't done a very good job of teching up, still on lair, and a little Ling counterattack coming into my base with roaches. Photon overcharge going down for me. I'll be interested to see. We'll keep an eye on the minimap if they counterattack our front door. Zealots coming forward to try to defend this base. Rampy coming here over here with Lings. That's very good. Trapping the Broaches, and we have the guns blowing these roaches out of the waters. Immortal's so good against roaches. As well as Photon Overcharge, clearly broken. And here we go. The blue Zerg's taking advantage of the massive attack at the back door. However, Spencer has a tank out on this high ground and a second one just coming out. So you could say that the blue Zergs kind of missed their opportunity. Check Rays with his massive horde of spines and queens kind of being put to a stop, honestly, and a Colossus with an observer now. He kind of missed his window. He had an extremely good opportunity. His little zealot counterattack comes over here, won't really do much. But he missed his opportunity. Sure, these queens can trade well against the Marines, but with these tanks up here, they don't have shit, son. So the Zerg strategy kind of petering out here. His team PSC, you know, they're not doing a really good job of droning their bases. They kind of been investing a lot in roaches with that counterattack and that defense of the warpin, as well as Czech Rays is completely invested in this queen spine crawler wall, which really could use the support of a fast broodlord tech choice or some swarm host even. You know, if we're just going to look at this from a more easy point of view, because teching to broodlords in 3v3 not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So Spencer still no starport for some reason. He really needs a starport, because when you're facing Zerg strategies with all this static defense, what you really want as a Terran player is you want to drop the Zerg to death, because they're completely committing everything to fighting at this one location. For you history buffs out there, I can equate this to being like France. Like, this is the Maginot Line. They're basically saying, like, well, I hope they don't go around. And, well, we're not. Because, basically, I'm anticipating a Swarm Host switch, and I'm trying to pump out Colossi instead of a Warp Prism. So, it's really on Spencer to start doing some dropping, and it looks like he's finally going to start. One key thing to note is this lack of gold base, by the way. As we see the army surging forward here and a Nidus Worm coming for our blue Zergs. Rampy going to throw his Banelings into Queens here, and we're going to take away... That's not the right button. And the Marines are coming forward here with Stem. I'm having a terrible time speaking as the Nidus comes out. Nidus needs to be focused down. It is immediately by Spencer. Good work there. Two Colossi coming here, raining laser beams down. But Spencer, in his curious case of his lack of medevacs, is really going to hurt him here, as he does not have Stem Pack active. He's going to have to stem again if he wants to fight here, but he really doesn't want to because he doesn't have any medevacs. This medevac did some damage, didn't catch it because of the big battle, and these Colossi are raining terror down here on these queens, and this is what I was talking about. So many damn transfuse, but the lack of supporting cast here for our blue Zergs really is hurting them. As it was just queens and static defense. It really wasn't anything worth a damn. And these Colossus need to be careful as one of them goes down. The guns here completely being ignored, as this 1 HP Colossus is a fucking hero, man. That Immortal was just sitting there wailing away. I need to be... Oh, and the Colossus does go down. And the out and out boys are surging forward, but this is what I'm talking about. This one medevac isn't able to heal all of these Marines, man. These Marines, Spencer's lost freaking half of them just from his lack of medevacs. And if we look back in his base, he doesn't have an add-on, kind of being inhibited from putting an add-on by that creep. And speaking of things being inhibited by creep, Spencer can't take this gold because of creep. I have a little zealot counterattack swinging down here. This is what I was talking about. These unit compositions based on garrisoning are really strong, but when you counterattack a lot, it's hard to deal with. Nidus Worm coming down in my expansion here as Spencer tries to clean up the creep here, and I don't spot this. I'm focused on this attack. This is going to do a lot of damage. Queen's coming forward here. This is going to do a lot of damage. Spores coming, or not spores, excuse me, drones coming, and creep tumors being laid. This nexus might go down. We see static defense being made, and I recall to this base, and the mothership core dies as it's in stasis. And Rampy comes here, thankfully helping me clean up the queens. And you always want to focus the Nidus Worms so they can't reinforce. So this attack, it killed probes. The nexus didn't die. It killed the mothership core, and they laid tumors down. Honestly, the most annoying part of that attack was the creep tumors. So this little Roach Hydra force is going to surge forward here and take care of Spencer's Pure Marine. Pure Marine is shit tier. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. You need other stuff. As Rampy's Lynx come here and kind of bail Spencer out of a sticky situation. Spencer really needs to move these tanks down. If those Marines that had tank support, fuck yeah, it'll obliterate that Roach Hydra. However, we see Aaron looking forward here with Lings. Maybe that's going to do a nice little cute counterattack. But Spencer doing incredible damage with the drop. I missed it. There's just so much damn action going on. And as we see here in the bottom left, this base died to Aaron's counterattack. So this base is being contested frequently. And I have a little Protoss Death Ball here. And Colossus are damn good against Hydras, but the curious case of my lack of mothership core here might really hurt me, as I could lose these power units. And that hero mortal from earlier might go down. 19 kills. Is it going to go down? Yes, it does, unfortunately. Spencer finally taking this base. I wish this would have been a planetary fortress, but he already made it an orbital earlier on. So this base is reasonably well defended with this Sim City. And as we see Aaron here, he pokes forward saying, "What the hell do you have?" And that is a lot of spine crawlers. I'd like to belabor the point that Swarm Hosts would be really, really strong here, because these spines are really good, and they provide a really nice defensive environment. Hell, but these Infestors are just as good. Infestors are an incredible, incredible choice here. They serve the same purpose as a Swarm Host. They're really good defensively. So the Roach Hydra Queen composition surging forward here onto creep. Spencer is for sure going to lose this base, as these tanks are the only thing keeping us alive, and he can't effectively move them down. And while this attack is going down, there's absolutely no way for us to defend this because of the defensive power of the Infestors. So I'm going to have to counterattack, as fighting this straight up is the wrong decision. As I said before, these static unit compositions, Jesus, sickening there. Just throwing his units into the meat grinder of Spencer's tanks as this bottom left base goes down. And this drop full of Steven Seagal Marines decimating the Zerg base as Check Rays brings his gaggle of queens over. Spencer not quick enough to pick that up. But this Protoss Death Ball of Savage Wood's army, that's me, boys, running through, could get this Infestation Pit, researching Enduring Locust, gets the Infestation Pit, decent force fields going down here, but not enough firepower, needs to recall immediately before he loses his money units. Savage Wood does. The first person, third person thing is kind of weird when you cast, but I do my best. So I recalled at this base. It's cute. And the boys, and by the boys I mean these freaking hero tanks that all have like double-digit kills, held the line like that Toto song. Rampy going Ling Infestor here. This base, Spencer does not want to lose. Sounds like an obvious statement, but he's been constricted to one base all game. It would be his dream to land up here. Rampy, for some reason, still hasn't figured out that making Lings and running into spines isn't a good idea. So right now, what do we have? We have a hell of a lot of queens, as is the huge. We have some brooches and a hell of a lot of baller crawlers, as I've been belaboring the whole point. But it's been the impact point of this game. It's been the focal point, because the whole strategy of our blue team, PSC, is to try to put up static defense and siege this front door. Spencer's tanks have been instrumental in stopping the siege, and Aaron's Lynx have been instrumental in catching out overextended attacks. And I'm sitting here with my dick in my hand trying to clear out some creep, and thankfully a recall comes out here. Am I going to lose this Colossi? No, I am not. And a DT being warped in here, that's pretty cute. That's annoying. Where is the... I guess I just walked it over. And then Spencer finally landing his base. Finally, Spencer starved for income. Been restricted to one base all game. You know, you keep asking yourself, why do you repeat yourself so much when you cast? It's because these are the key points of the games. Rather than just talk about random bullshit, it's more important to emphasize the key points. Spencer, once again, base going down. My base might be next for the enemies. I idiotically trap Archons in here. I desperately need these Archons to come fight, because it's the logical step for this army to move down here. However, it looks like it's going to move up here. Roaches, not great units against this many tanks. Once again, I'd love to see some Broodlords or Swarm Hosts coming out, as this base has been taken and this base has been resaturated with probes. Basically, the Zergs have used an incredibly inefficient unit composition because they've elected to throw roaches into a meat grinder. And finally, we have Rampy here bringing out a plethora of Broodlords, breaking down the static defense. And this is where the shit hits the fan for the blue team, is right when the great attack comes from Rampy with the Broodlords. The Protoss Deathball of Savagewood moves down, and Spencer once again with this drop. Man, he hasn't been dropping very much, but he sure as hell is making him count. This base is no more. Spencer focusing down the hive with the Gem Rainers. They're 2-2. Obviously not as good as 3-3, but they pack a punch. The blue team is falling apart here as a beautiful force field wall comes down from Savagewood, and the perfectly balanced recall Kappa is used. And like, this is what happens when you play these static unit compositions, is when someone has things that can break siege, the shit hits the fan. And when people drop you, the shit hits the fan. So although this was an incredibly potent contain strategy from our blue Zergs, this isn't exactly the greatest thing to go into late game, as Spencer picks off another key building there. So it looks like the Zerg is finally going to try to deny my bottom base here, but Sentries and Colossus are pretty damn good. Roaches this late in the game aren't ideal. Sloppy force fields coming down from Savagewood. That is not good. He needs all the energy he can get. Does not want to lose this mothership core, although it is out of energy. And Rampy doing a good job taking out the static defense with Broodlords, although and Spencer doing this incredible drop might get another hive. Our blue Zergs are just completely falling apart. They're basically all in this bottom base of mine. They want to break the income. Ultralisk will crush force fields, so I'd be surprised to see force fields coming down. Mass transfuse on these Ultralisks. They just will not die. And however, they won't do damage because of the lack of upgrades from our Zerg player. And the power of Protoss, hashtag the thirst is real. 4 hallucinated Colossi, as I said, and Rampy's Lynx coming in to clean up my sloppy seconds. Why hallucinate Colossus, you ask? Even when they didn't have detection, but why hallucinate Colossus? Because Ultralisks stomp force fields. When you throw them down, they don't give a fuck and walk right through them. And due to counterattacking and teching, out now prevails. So I hope you enjoyed the 3v3 action, and I'll catch you guys later.